Hi guys, welcome to topic 2. We are starting topic 2 with integers. Now I want you to look at this picture right here, this number line. This number line shows us integers. Integers are the positive counting numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4. They're opposites, so -1, -2, -3, and so on, and 0. So when you look at this number line is an example of integers. So our counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're opposites, -1, -2, -3, -4, and it also includes 0. So it's our positive whole numbers, our negative whole numbers, and 0. So that is what an integer is. Now, for this unit, you are going to be required to plot and label integers on a number line. So here's an example of a number line. If you look at it, it is missing some labels. So it's our job to figure out what goes where each of these blue dots are. So when you want to think about what is in between a positive one and a negative one, well, that's going to be a 0. 0 is halfway between those two. Then you want to figure out what scale you're counting by. So let's deal with positives first because they're easier. If you start at 0, you get 1, 2, 3. This is going to be a 4, and that's a 5. When you count negatives, you count the exact same way. You just go left. -1, -2, -3, -4. Now, if you're going to notice here, 4 and -4 are opposites. The reason they are opposites is because they are the same distance from 0, but one is 4 units to the right, one is 4 units to the left. So they're opposites. One is a positive version of the 4, one is a negative version of the 4. That's another skill you have to have for this unit. So if I were to ask you the opposite of 4, it's -4. If I were to ask you the opposite of -4, you would say, oh, it's +4. Now I want you to think, how do you know that those two numbers are opposites? Think that in your head right now. How do you know that 4 and -4 are opposites? Well, I know those two numbers are opposites because they have the same base number, a 4 and a 4, but one is positive and one is negative. I also know they're opposites because of the number line. One is 4 units to the right of 0, and one is 4 units to the left of 0. They're on opposite sides of 0. All right, so that's one of the skills you have to know. Let's go on to the next skill you have to know. The next skill, if I can get my little clicker, haha, is ordering and comparing. Okay, so one of the easiest ways to order and compare integers is by plotting them. Now, the vocabulary word plot means to put a dot. They rhyme, plot and dot. So here's a +4. I'm going to put a dot on the +4 on the number line. +12, I'm going to put a dot. -12, well, that's on the negative side. -11. So what I just did is I plotted. I put a dot on each of the numbers in this list. Once you have them plotted, it's easy to tell the order from least to greatest because the furthest to the left is least, L for left, L for least, and the numbers further to the right are your bigger numbers, those greater numbers. So in order from least to greatest, we have -12. That's my smallest. We have -11. That's my next smallest. The next dot I run into is a +4. And the next dot I run into is a +12. So when I want to order this set of integers from least to greatest, that is the order they should go in, from the most negative number all the way up to the most positive number. Now, in addition to ordering them, you also have to compare. And when we compare, we think of alligator mouths, less than, greater than, or equal to. So when you have these two numbers, -94 and -97, I can't exactly look at them on my number line to plot them. So I'm going to think of which one is least, which one's the most negative. So think to yourself, which one of these two is the most negative? The most negative is negative 97. That one's the furthest below zero, so that one's the least. That means my alligator mouth wants to eat negative 94 because it's bigger. Let's look at these two, negative 65 and positive 61. Okay, this one should be an easy one. Think to yourself, which one's bigger? Well, a positive number is always going to be bigger than a negative. So you have to have some number sense here where you have to figure out which number is greater than the other, which one's further to the right on a number line, which one's more negative and further below zero. Let's see what else we have to know for this topic. The last thing you have to know is real world integer keywords. And I want you to take a second and I want you to look at this table up here. Words for positive are things like gain, going up, getting more, depositing money in your checking account. Okay, when you deposit money, you're adding money to it. Moving forward, above. All of these keywords have a positive or a plus connotation. Negative, loss, down, less. Withdraw, when you take something out of your bank account. Going backwards, going below. All of these have a subtraction or a negative connotation. And then right in the middle is zero. The most common real world phrase you're going to have for zero is sea level. Because when we talk about elevation, we have sea level. We have birds in the sky that are above sea level. They have a positive elevation. We have fish in the sea that are below sea level. They're negative elevation. And sea levels are middle. Sea level is our zero. So this is an example of something you might have to do for this topic. You might have a phrase where you have to decide the integer, the positive or negative whole number, or zero. So if you score 12 points, do you think that's going to be a positive 12, a negative 12, or zero? Scoring 12 points. That's going to be a positive 12. I don't have to write a plus in front of it because a 12 is just positive. A debt of $5. You owe somebody $5. Is that positive 5, negative 5, or zero? A debt means you owe somebody, you're in the hole, a negative 5. So those are the skills you have to have for this topic. You have to be able to tell me real world integers, what real world situations mean in the number world. You also need to be able to, I'm trying to go back, tell me how to plot numbers on a number line. You need to be able to tell me opposites, and you need to be able to order and compare.